There is nothing left. After dozens of battles, the enemy is defeated and tremble within their few remaining hovels. Hundreds dead on both sides. It hangs heavy on my heart. I once sought conquest. Now I seek the peace of the forest. I want to return to the home of my youth, where the trees stand tall and thick but hold no malice, where the only angry rumblings are the ones in my belly. So I will set my war dogs free, renounce my titles and leadership, and walk away from all plunder. Bringing only my clothing, I will take only what the earth provides. Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Ryan, and we are playing the Unreal World today. This is the start of a brand new series, Canute the Redeemed. So, if you're familiar with the channel, you're probably aware of my previous season. But if you are new, I've got a link to all my previous Unreal World content down below. Canute, though, was a special case here. This gentleman in front of you was responsible for wiping out nearly the entire Nurpezit civilization. You can see he stands here at the heart of what was once a terrifying empire of hostiles with only a few remaining tribes left on the outskirts. But Canute has decided not to hunt those poor unfortunates to the ends of the earth. He will let them remain. He has renounced his titles and his warlike behaviors altogether. We are going to abandon all possessions except the clothing on his back and venture deep into the wilderness, where he hopes to avoid all human contact, becoming a peaceful hermit and carving out a lifestyle in the brutal forest. Nonetheless, he will still need to hunt animals, albeit he will do it in an honorable and respectful way, of course. So, thank you once again for joining me here at the outset of this journey. I hope you'll hit the like button on the video, subscribe if you are a new viewer, and let the adventure begin. Canute stands amongst the carnage of one of the many battlefields for which he is a direct cause of. Many enemies have fallen here, but also many friends as well. This is, of course, the perfect site for him to take part in the age-old tradition of any self-respecting hermit, and that is to abandon all worldly possessions. So we will go into our drop menu, select everything, and proceed to leave our weapons, our tools, and even our food and water behind. It all bears the taint of the battles that Canute fought in this region, so it must remain behind. In fact, Canute has resolved to embark upon a fasting period while he journeys to his new home, wherever that may be. Now, finally, before leaving this area with only the clothing on his back, Canute must release the dogs which fought so loyally by his sides. Saying goodbye is an emotional moment for Canute. Nonetheless, these animals deserve to live free, unlike so many of the fallen men who came before them. And we begin the process of unleashing each and every dog, saying goodbye to Breeza and Spider, Rumblebelly, Starshine, and even Drist must part. Let us continue. Watch them as they leave the vicinity, some running away to freedom, some eyeing us, longingly questioning their master's decision, and yet, nonetheless, taking to the trees eventually with their companions to run freely. Now we shall drop the ropes and proceed into the dense jungle, where who knows what we will encounter. But whatever it is, we will meet it with peace of mind that comes from a non-hostile way of living. Canute stands at the edge of the known world. Every step he takes from here on out will bring him closer to the isolation he so craves, and hopefully that distance will serve as a viable medicine for the ails of his mind. Now let us journey together north and east into the darkness. He is weary and, of course, hungry, but we might end up with a bit of starvation before Canute finally finds a place to settle down. We will sleep, however, of course, and occasionally strike the ice to get some water for Canute's thirst. Canute is not suicidal. He intends to survive, albeit he will push himself to the extremes in the hopes that his punishment and trials will serve as retribution and an apology to the world and the peoples he has wronged. Now, let us see if we can find some sort of tool to break the ice with. Unfortunately, his hands won't serve that purpose. We might be better off zooming back out and finding a lake near a forest's edge. Ah, here we go. This is a better spot for water. We've got a stone dead ahead, so we'll grab this. And he does need to have it in his inventory, so we'll grab it. And now we should be able to make a hole in the ice. Okay. Delicious, cool lake water. Who knows, once the spring thaw comes, this one could hold many fish for Canute to eat. But right now, we're still looking for a spot to settle, and we are definitely not far enough from civilization for Canute's liking. So we will leave the edge of that lake, and let us proceed to zoom back out. We should take a look at the world map occasionally. This will give us a bit of an idea. There's literally no farther to the right that I can move my camera. So now we are looking at the top right-hand corner of the game world. Some fair bit of this will be ocean to the north, but if we situate ourselves roughly in about this position, we are going to be as far from civilization as we can get. So let's begin our journey on the overmap. Canute is going to start starving, but the sooner we settle, the sooner hopefully we can set up some sort of traps. Canute has spotted the coast. The great water lies just ahead, and to the right or east of our position, we may travel no further. For some reason, we dare not. So, Canute has reached the farthest position he can get from the civilized world, and of course he brings himself here starving and extremely tired. So let's try and force him to sleep a little bit right here on the world map. Oh my gosh, look at this. Already Canute's isolation has been disturbed by what he sees as human figures in the distance. Maybe it's just a ghost haunting Canute, but nonetheless, he will stand up and begin venturing away from the figures he saw in the night, hoping they will not follow him. And we must now begin the arduous search for somewhere to sleep, although we do see that game is plentiful in this region. Perhaps somewhere near the coast would be a great benefit. Wow. Definitely plentiful. Yes. We'll set up next to some sort of water source. Small lake like this could be beneficial. I like to try and pick out a really nice spot, but I think initially, at least for now, this could be the site of a shelter. Doesn't have to be anything magnificent. And of course, this will at least allow us to sleep out of the rain. So let's pull down a few branches. Keep in mind, we don't even have a knife. We're going to have to try and whip up a stone knife at some point. But I think we can still get some branches. Well, I would be mistaken. Okay, nope, can't do it. We need that cutting weapon. Oh no, I'm sorry, the stone will work. Okay. So let's repeat that task with the stone. Oh, it says by hand too. My bad. We can see that this probably takes a little bit longer with the hands, but that's a good start. We'll need that component for any shelter. And let's see if we can't whip up a stone knife real quick. I believe the recipe calls for a rock. Let's try and find it here in our list. Alright, here we find it under the weapons tab. But if we select it, we've got a rock for napping. Thought I just picked one up. Oh, maybe we need a second one. So that should be easy to find here next to the water's edge. It's a great source of stones and rocks, always near the edge of whether it be a river or a lake. Here we go. Grab that one. Let's try that again. There it is. Alright, so we push space to continue. Excellent. So we now have ourselves a rough stone knife. We'll go ahead and wield that. Alright, and of course now we can use it to start cutting down small trees, which is what we'll need for the supports for our shelter. So let's get this one. Alright, he might pass out while we do this, but that's somewhat acceptable. Let's see. Fell a tree. There we go. Task will be paused. Yeah, he's too tired. Alright, he can still sleep in the rain when he's really exhausted. Let's repeat. This is quite a chore like this. He's in rough shape, but again, repentance is a tough job. So let's continue here. Repeat the process until we knock it down. Alright. Finally, took a little while, and of course now he's extremely tired again. So it's probably going to take him a moment to, actually several moments, to get the shelter up. Let's put it a little bit back from the shoreline though. Sometimes you can have trouble zooming in and out of the world map if it's too close to the water's edge. So let's see if we select to move these. Yeah, we only need 3, but we'll take all 4. So that we can maybe use a little bit for some firewood. Okay, so this is probably far enough, and it gives us a direct line of sight to the water without any trees on our way and stuff. I think that I can probably move up one. There we go. We'll stop moving. Oops, I didn't mean to zoom out. Still trying to get used to the controls. It's been a while since I played the old Unreal World, but I've had a few people ask me during live streams and stuff when and if I'll be doing another series. So I hope you guys are excited as I am to be jumping into it. So let's see. Building menu. S for shelter. Directly below the character's position. Yeah, our starvation is really starting to affect the performance. It would help if it would stop raining for at least a couple of hours, but it's been steady. We're, of course, on day 6 of the 9th week before midsummer point, and we might want to take a look at the character's profile. I shouldn't just assume everybody has a familiarity with Canute, even though I did do a full series with this character. He is 17 years old, survived a full 286 days of adventuring life with hopefully many more. A little bit more peacefully though these days will be, and you can see his overall profile is pretty good. He's definitely a top-notch character, lacking the most in speed, but we'll just have to compensate for that during some hunts, or maybe even using some trapping, passive hunting to help compensate. So we're going to basically continue the process that we did with chopping the tree, and now it'll just be with building the shelter. He's going to work on it, then sleep for a tiny bit until the rain wakes him up, and then repeat. And the process bar is going across the screen so quickly you almost can't see it, but not to worry. At one point, the rain has to let up. Alright, well, the shelter has now been constructed, and it stopped raining for a few hours. Cano was able to get some rest, which is very good. Not just for his mental health, but for actually getting some chores done. Now, I believe the next big task is to make a stone axe. Of course, this requires a little bit of thin cordage, which it's kind of tough to come by out here in the wilderness. We could chop down these little saplings, but that's more primitive style cordage. Won't work for clothing and things of that nature, or stone axes apparently. So what I've done is I took off his fur shirt, right here, and I stripped a little bit off of it, just enough for one 15-foot cordage, which you can see has degraded the durability just slightly. We just don't want to do it too many times, or if we do need more, we can maybe do some from the fur cloak next, spread that out a little bit. But let's see, he's already begun partial work on the axe, so let's just repeat the progress here. He gets tired quite a bit and he fatigues quickly thanks to the starvation, which is definitely starting to build up. He's at 10% starvation. Of course, that gets to full, he dies, but I think he will renounce his food abstention soon, also known as his fast. That's the word I was trying to think of. And let's go ahead and step over to the lake here, have a drink. First, he needs to rest a little bit. There we go, get that fatigue down. Get rid of those lactic acids that build up in the muscles. Take a drink. Okay, so the stone axe isn't quite finished, but we'll still sleep. Here, he just sleeps in short bursts because he's starving. It's now evening, late evening. He's a little bit off schedule, but that's okay. He's a night owl for now. Just ignoring the normal cycles until he needs to start hunting, that is. So let's go ahead and hit repeat, proceed, and we finished it. There it is, the stone axe. Going to be a very crucial tool to help us bootstrap our way back up to full tools, I should say, and probably a bow and arrow is going to be an important, not necessarily weapon, but for hunting we'll want one, no doubt about it. I see that he's also still wearing some of his armor. I think we'll go ahead and take that off, maybe lay it out and display it somewhere, but never to use it again, certainly. So it can serve as a reminder, a memento of all the fallen and the friends. But for now, let's focus on survival. I think it might be worth biding our time till the sun comes up, and as soon as we do, we will pop out to the world map, and maybe we can run down some of those elk that we spied when we first came to this region. Well, we got lucky here with our find. I've located a log just down the lake shore, so we're going to move this right next to our shelter. That is not for firewood. No, we'll need that if we down any animals. We'll want something to eventually beat out the skin during the tanning and drying process. Speaking of drying, if we're talking about meat, it is a little bit late in the year to be drying outside. I don't know if the temperature is conducive to it. We won't be able to tell until we actually get some meat in our inventory. Temperature is still very cold if we look at the thermometer up here, but I think also the time of year does make a difference too. Now, what I've done just in case is while I was waiting, I went around and downed a bunch of the little saplings. I think we're going to make some primitive cordage, like I say. So if we down a big animal, we'll want to be prepared with the right tools to properly preserve the meat. And these spruce, with these very primitive cordage, we've got 8 saplings here, so we'll just do all of them. It doesn't take very long, less than in 2 hours right there, and we can just safely drop those. They actually do kind of have some weight. Now, if worse comes to worse, I can also use the cloth cord for this purpose, but I'm going to try and avoid that, certainly. There we go. Now, I'm also keeping a few big stones on me, because I might, in fact, I think I definitely will. Now, let's keep those. I will go set up a few traps. So, let's jump out and leave our camp for the first time here. Now, we are on the edge of some pretty decent flatland here. It's open to the north. Yep, look at that. The elk is still right by us. That is pretty incredible. What I think I'm going to do, we need to rest. All right, I'm actually going to drop these stones. I wasn't sure if we'd see this elk so quickly, but there it is. We're only carrying 119. Yeah, you know what? I need to take that armor off too real quick. Let's do that. All right, well, I have removed the armor, the helmet, the chest pieces, wrist and arms, and of course our kneecaps here. So we are now strictly wearing leather and fur clothing only. Like I said, we've got it laid out here as a remembrance. We will not touch that or wear it. So let's zoom back out. The stones, good. The stones are still here. They're just north of the shelter. I probably won't lose them. So, plus stones can be replaced. This deer, on the other hand, or I'm sorry, the elk here. This is a gold mine potentially. Let's get up here. Now, of course, we won't be using our knife or axe, and obviously we have no bows and arrows, so the strategy is going to be an attrition hunt. We're going to try and run this thing to exhaustion. Now, let's go ahead and zoom out. During a hunt, I always stay at maximum zoom, so we obviously have maximum visibility. Now, let's take a look at the animal. We're going to jump right to it. It's a big bull elk. Nice, 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 nice. All right, now, of course, it's not fatigued at all. It's fresh. It's going to start sprinting probably as soon as we take a step towards it. Let me just take another quick glance at the world map here. We don't have a lot of knowledge of the surrounding areas, but we want to avoid it running into a forest. Obviously, keep it in this open, nice big country. So I'm going to start sprinting right away, and we're going to chase it. There it goes. Now it is running, and we've lost sight of it. Typically, I stop sprinting, and I will follow its tracks. You can see the dark tracks here forming a zigzag line. There it is again. So it's not afraid of us yet. Obviously, I haven't injured it, but we can see it's a little bit fatigued. Usually doesn't take it much to get to that first stage of a little fatigued, but to get it breathless, which is our target, will take quite a bit. And we have to balance our own fatigue levels, including the starvation factor, and any weight we're carrying also plays a part in that. So let's stop. Look at this. Okay. Always take a look. Okay, it's slightly fatigued. This is good though. See how it sits next to the edge of the water? Sometimes they'll get a little bit confused and flustered near water like that. You can corner them, and they'll really exhaust themselves just running in circles basically. But he's a smart one. He's made his way through the little archipelago there, the little strait, which we're gonna just follow him. Now, he's recovered a little bit of his fatigue. Yeah, we really want to keep the pressure on this animal and scare it, continuously keep it running and sprinting. Otherwise, like it just did, it's going to recover. Oh no, I tracked it to the edge of a forest here, and you can see that the tracks now go into the tree line. That's no good. We can kind of follow it. We'll go into stealth mode. Yeah, the tracks are starting to get a little bit confused here. Let's pull back out. Yeah, you can see now why I don't enjoy hunting in the trees. It can be very difficult to see the prey. I think for our purposes, we're going to be patient here. We'll back away, not giving up. And in fact, the technique that I like to use in this situation is to jump to the world map. And we don't see the animal, but sometimes if you move a little bit, return to the spot where you last saw it, it might have popped back out of the forest. Let's go into stealth mode. Try and sneak up on it if we do see it. Here's the same tracks that we caught it at. Let's just kind of circle the area. See if maybe it jumped out of the trees at another point. We got some interesting herbs here too. Oh, I see him. I see him. Look at that. Boom. Bull elk. Just up here in the corner. He hasn't spotted me yet. He might be slightly aware of my presence. Nope. Oh, there he goes. He's running into the trees now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Not to worry. I think it's best if we just go ahead and give up on it. And I just stepped into the water. We should probably attempt another one and see if the other one's around here somewhere. But again, sometimes returning to the same area can bear fruit. The animal won't necessarily just dart away and never return. Sometimes you get lucky. You can catch it back out in the open. So, gotta be persistent, but also you gotta know when to quit. Now this is interesting. Notice fresh leading southeast. Okay, so we've picked up a fresh trail. Probably the same animal. I don't see it yet. I am going to... I'm going to keep pursuing here. Let's check these tracks again. Southeast, we're on the right direction. It's going fairly straight. Okay, now look at this. The tracks. Yeah, I came to the water's edge and ran around quite a bit. Let's see if we can see any tracks that branch off. Which way are these going? These are an hour old. This might be a good time to jump out and look. Move once. Zoom in. Just look. Sometimes you get lucky. Well, alright. We got more tracks. This is also starts to present its own unique problem with chasing the animal around over the same ground. The tracks can get quite a bit confusing, and if you do catch sight of it, sometimes you'll lose it just because you start following the wrong set of tracks. It can be good to just give up and leave the area. Move on for something hopefully better. Sometimes passive hunting is better, especially for an old tormented soul like Canute. So we have returned to the site of where we dropped off those large stones. We've got 4 of them. That's the basis for some good lever traps, but there's one more component we need. I've got a few sticks on me. We just need some of the long tree branches, the slender tree trunks, I believe they're called properly. So let's fell this little tree right here. Very nice. And I believe Canute is strong enough to pick up 4 of these at a time. Yes, there we go. So that's very helpful. Having somebody who's big, strong, lots of weight, big stature, can move a lot. Now, this is a pretty ideal spot. There's berry bushes just starting to come in. They're still not ready yet, but we can place traps at a few of these patches, and hopefully we'll catch a bird or 2. Proximity to the base makes it easy to check, on a semi-regular basis. Of course, we want to give it a little bit of time. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to place these directly on the bushes. So let's go to S, R for traps, the light lever trap, the very first one. Direction, there we go. We've got everything we need. The stone knife would be the only actual tool you'll need for this. I'm going to try and keep them spread out. Proximity doesn't make a difference, except in you don't really want them right next to each other. Potentially, and I've had this happen, if you catch a bird in one and say some sort of small predator like a fox or a weasel in the other one, it'll kill the adjoining trap. So just that's something to keep in mind. Again, probably a rare occurrence, but it has happened. Alright, I do like to keep them kind of clustered together too, just for convenience sake, so that when I'm coming back to this location again and again to check the traps, I don't have to move like several tiles. I can just, boom, pop in, have them all in my visual range in one go, and then pop back out if, there's nothing here. Alright, so we'll set this last one. Beautiful. Okay, and they're not properly baited, but that's okay. The baiting it's a bit of a contentious topic, a topic of debate. I'll just say that amongst the Unreal World community. There are some who swear that it's necessary, but I know from my own personal experience, and you can go back and just watch some of my series, it's not necessary. I would say that location of traps, meaning have you seen animals there, that does matter more than bait itself. Now, certainly, if you've got the resources, you should bait your traps. That can help increase your chances. But overall, location, location, location. Have you seen the animal you're trying to catch? Then place your traps there, bait or not. So, there we go. We'll let those mature and hopefully rest for a little while. And maybe we'll catch a bird, which will be a good step, not just for the minuscule amount of meat, but some of the resources, such as feathers and whatnot, we can get from them. Okay, well, I just set another 4 traps here at a position still relatively close to the base here. We'll zoom out. Yeah, you can see our camp is just to the south. We zoom in a bit. The other set of traps just up here. So yeah, I like to keep them kind of spread out but close. That helps especially during the winter. And if you're low on clothing, you don't have proper winter gear yet, maybe you're starting with a challenging start, that can really, really help too. So you don't have to venture out and freeze. But one thing I noticed, there was a visitor. There he is. So I've spotted another elk, and this one's very close to home here, just outside our camp. It's also very close to the edge of that forest right here in the corner. So maybe if we can get in behind it, chase it out into the open fields, because there is a bit of land to run, which is exactly what we're looking for. But I think we're going to save that, guys, for the next episode. Maybe we can start off on a high note in episode 2. Now, I am really excited, guys, to bring you this series. We're going to be doing uploads every other day from here on out in the same time slot here. But if you'd like to check out my content early, I do upload to my Patreon account. You can donate at any tier and you'll get early access to all my videos, not just this series, but all of them ad-free and early over there. And you also get access to my private Discord server where me and my other Patreons chat and talk about all kinds of stuff. We also do giveaways over there and stuff. But anyway, guys, just consider it. I really appreciate you all supporting the channel. I hope you'll hit that like button for me, subscribe if you're a new viewer, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching the video, everybody. I just want to take a moment to recognize my Patreons. As you can see, I put their names in gold because they are, in fact, more precious than that shiny metal. Now, I'd like to take a moment to invite you to also support the channel for as little as $2, $5, or $10. You gain access to all my content early and ad-free over on Patreon, as well as a private Discord server with me and my other Patreons where we do some giveaways and have great conversations. But once again, thank you, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.